Hello, everyone, and welcome to round 2 of season 21 of F1XL's Division 4. My name is Bofar, and I am very happy and glad to be with you for this race around the Circuit of the Americas in Texas for the USA Grand Prix. And joining me as ever is Gunhead. Let's just make sure that you're unmuted on my stream. There you go.
That'd be a better start than we had last week.
Yes. Well, at least I'm coming through this time.
That's a bonus. That's definitely a bonus. We got your beautiful intro. For those of you that missed it last week, it truly was touching. This, yeah, looking forward to this one. This would be a good race. Actually, I would rather watch this than race it myself, but it is one that I do find is enjoyable to watch. So
good. Right. Qualifying has started. Let's pop up the main screen, but no one is out on track as of yet. And I'll just slowly fade the lovely music down, and we will have in-game audio.
Looks like we got Richie on the way out the pits straight away. If I could jump onto Richie. Oh yeah, I need to sort out the audio.
Hang on, let me get my telemetry up. Let's get lap delta, track map, that will help. And tyres. Yeah. There we go. Right. Okay, that's Richie. Richie's up first. Right. Hello everyone in the chat. Hello Ian, hello Lethal Lins. Thanks for joining us again. Both racers.
Yes.
It's quite
And
impressive multitasking.
Yeah, I could never do that. Whenever there was a stream on, I had to just ignore it. You know, when you're in a party and there's a stream on in the background, and you're like, look, please just turn it off. I don't want to hear my name mentioned. Put me off. But yeah, it is impressive multitasking from those two. Lethal Lins, I think, was one of the sort of standout drivers for bad luck from last week. Didn't have the greatest start. I think he got drive-through, he lost wing, he disconnected, and he still managed to pull out P7. So I wonder if he doesn't have any problems, I'm wondering how well this week will go for him. I think that's going to be something to keep an eye on throughout the race.
Yeah, definitely had a fantastic race last time out. Do you want to, have you got the last week's standing, or the standings after last week, after all the penalties and shenanigans? Have you got all that information?
I have got last week's standings. I just need to triple check that this is that the penalties have been added though. So if you want to take over for a second while I do double check that they have been adjusted to match.
Yeah, that's fine. So let's jump on board. Actually, with Richie, first driver out on track. Had an unfortunate crash out last week, was it? Yeah, Richie had a crash out last week and didn't finish the race, but looked pretty strong. So I am expecting a half decent time, I think, from Richie, but this is the first run out. So
I think you might just be confusing Richie with Sander the Dad.
Am I?
So far as I can see, the standings are now as they will be, and we have Smith leading the way, followed by Richie in second.
Yes, I am.
And I'm just looking now, and yeah, Smith is. I was just double checking. I'm sure Smith was in here when we started. I just wanted to make sure he still was. Yeah, so Richie is currently second overall, with Aspleth Frog in third. I'll do a full sort of standings once we've got these first few laps in, so we know the top 10.
What kind of times are you expecting around this track, do you think?
I think we'll see anywhere between a 134. So, I mean, 134.4 maybe up to a 135.2. I'm not 100% sure on these paces, but there you go. So we got 134.6 as the opening lap from Richie. Qualifying here for me is just appalling. I mean, I'll be lucky if I actually get a lap in without invalidating. So 134.6 is our opener. So we might even drop into 133s once this track is rubbered in.
Yep, quite possibly. So Pat Pitter sticks it in second. Two Red Bulls currently atop. Pocket Gamer and Powell go past 135 and 136 respectively. Rocket Gamer up into fourth, 135.5. And Smith.
Oh,
Nice and close. We're getting close to that 133 cut-off, aren't we?
we are, yeah.
Smith popping it on pole position. Brian Core going over the line, 135.6 as well. Ibonto, 135.1. DNG Titan, 135.2. And who's the next person to cross the line? Looks like it might be... no, Beastie. No, it's one of the other blue ones. Saucy Chris, going through the final corner. There we go. We still have absolutely no idea if that's the correct pronunciation, but we're going with it.
No, we don't. I need to ask him that. I will ask him that for next week, and I will find out if that is how we say it.
Well, it's going to be
put that on the list.
It's going to be how we say it. Like it's now ingrained. Saucy Chris.
That is it.
And Beastie's gone over in seventh as well.
I think something that we need to get an idea of. I mean, a lot of these guys race in multiple leagues. I've raced against some of these guys with setups enabled over presets. As those of you that are tuning in and not racing, this is a preset only league. To try and make it as even as possible and to try and get that separation of overall speed sort of fair for everybody to keep it on the preset. So I'm just still trying to get used to sort of what speeds we're looking at, because all through the last season that I raced, the qualifying from the divisions wasn't actually all that far out. I think Division 4 last season was within half a second at some tracks of Division 1. It was just that overall race pace that made the difference as to where you were placed. So Smith, potentially, we could be looking at him pushing into the 133s fairly soon. But there are still guys out there that haven't set lap times. I think Sander the Dad was among the fastest last week, so not sure what overall fastest time we're expecting today, but I think it's still going to be, judging by how it is at the moment, potentially the same three guys maybe starting at the front, but this track is an absolute nightmare, so I'll be interested to see who can cope with, especially that opening first sector. I mean, I know you've raced. What part of this track do you like, if anything?
What part do I like? It's not a long list.
I didn't think it would be.
This one's not a long list. We're just watching Party Hard go through Sector 1. I think this is probably the most fun, but also the most, I would say, excruciatingly painful part of the lap, because those S's are really fun to drive, and when you get them right, it feels amazing. But when you get them wrong, you'll add multiple time penalties to your tire, to your race pace, and it can really mess up your lap. So it really is like it's like if you nail it, you're like, okay, this is going to be a good lap. If you don't, you're just dreading the rest of the lap, because it's such a long lap, and especially in qualifying, if you get an invalidation really early on in Sector 1, then it's just going to demoralize you. Well, at least it did for me anyway. As we
as well.
Party Hard is coming around the final corner now. Let's see where he gets up to. Looks maybe a 135.8, so that's good enough for 9th at the moment. And Sander the Dad, who had a bit of an off last time. Oh, and a bit of a little bit of a wiggle there from the back end, complaining. This Sector 2, tell me your thoughts on this Sector 2, because it's such like a tight and twisty technical part of this track, and it doesn't really fit with the rest of it, it seems.
No, it doesn't. You're right. You're absolutely right. Sector 2 is an absolute nightmare for rear grip. Just going to see what time he does after that wobble, because it really can impact your time going around that section. I mean, 135.6, so very close from like P6 down to P11 at the moment, so we'll see how that shapes out. But yeah, Sector 2 is a bit of an anomaly, I think, around this track. You feel a lot of flow, like you say, like you hit upon pretty accurately. Sector 1, when you get it right, feels amazing. You think, yeah, I've smashed that. I'm on for a good lap. And then when you hit sort of the end of Sector 2 and the start of Sector 3, it's just, what happened? What did they think when they made this track? What went through their mind when they made it such a low grip section? But again, when you get it right and you get the good lines, you get the good traction, it can feel amazing to get that lap in. I think Smith probably at the minute is the happiest with his sector 2. I've been just checking out the sector times overall, and I think at the minute he'll be the happiest. But yeah, it's a Marmite track, and it's got Marmite sections on it as well. You love it or you hate it, or it hates you.
Yes, this corner that Hank Giles just gone through and has literally just spun is one that I really hate, because as soon as you go through it, you go up over that crest, the car unloads itself of weight because you're going up over the crest, but you have such a tight turn, and it's like it's deceptively tight, that turn, and you get on the power too quickly and you will spin around, just as Hake Zhao has done there. So still hasn't set time yet, same as Stone Shuffle. So we'll jump on board with the Aston Martin. There we go. I can remember the cars.
Yeah.
I can remember.
You are right about that. That's a corner where you feel like, oh, I take it in third gear, get it flat out, but as soon as you hit that crest and apex, you are just gone round. It is a nightmare. Good time from Stone Shuffle with the 135.2, putting him fairly close to DNG Titan. Did Stone Shuffle make it last week?
I don't think so. I don't recall Stone Shuffle being in the race. I don't think he made it last week.
Well, I can quickly take this opportunity to just give you the current top 10 standings, and I can now confirm, looking at it, that Stone Shuffle was unable to make the first round, along with GWA Panda, who is still missing in action. But our top 10 are, as outlined, it's Smith, Richie and Asthma Frog, top 3, taking the 1, 2, 3 last week out, followed by Bonta, Powell, DNG Titan for McLaren. Had a mixed bag of a race, but managed to get home in 6th. Lethal Lin's in 7th. We touched upon him already. Scrub in P8 started last week. If he can qualify well this week, we might see quite a good showing from him. Beastie NUFC P9, and Bray and Core rounding out the top 10 for Haas with that 10th place finish. That should be set in stone now.
Yes, I think it is.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to make any changes now, not now that we're racing again today. So that's your top 10. Have you got, looking at this, an idea of who you reckon could run away with this, or do you think it's going to be another one of those races where we just don't know? We're going to have to hold on to the edge of our seats all the way around.
I think there's more to come from Sander the Dads, currently down in 12th. But I think Smith and Richie are going to be two that are going to have a good time. Saucy Chris, though, putting in a very tasty lap there. 134.8, good enough for third at the moment. So that's decent there from Chris in the Williams. That's a Williams 1 and 3 at the moment. So a good time for them. And they're currently leading the Constructors' Championship, I believe. After the first race.
Yes, they are.
Look at that. I've got knowledge as well. We're good.
Oh, dude. I like that. That was like, they're winning it. They are. I know they are. Just look at... You did say the Williams team, didn't you? I hope you did now.
I did, yeah. It was Williams.
You did? Yes, you did. Yeah.
I did say
I
Williams.
was like, hang on a minute. He did say Williams. I was ready. I'm looking right now to the standings, and I was like, wait, you said Williams, right? Yeah, no. Yeah, it's currently Williams from Red Bull from Aston Martin. So, yeah, that's the current standings. I've just noticed that Stone Shuffle has made it this week. However, Asper Frog is unfortunately vacated his seat. which would be why we have. I was looking at the Aston Martin. I was like, I'm sure we were watching one last week, and I was right about that. But it's just the other one.
Oh, so is Aston Frog gone? He's like gone.
He's not gone. I do believe he's just unavailable this week to race. So hopefully we'll see him back next week.
There we go. Say hello to people in the chat as well. We've got Howell in the chat says, "Hola." Nice. It's a bit of let's jump on board with Howell's going on the track at the moment in the Alfa Romeo. Let's jump on board. It's coming through the final couple of corners. Let's see what he can do. Can he improve his lap time? No, he can't, because he's currently running at 2 minutes and 5.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Or he was, but
it said on mine he was running 2 minutes and 5, and then it said he's did a better lap time, actually.
Yeah. Okay. Codemasters being Codemasters. It gives you one set of information in the top corner, not quite the right thing, but he's currently in 10th, 135.5, and I think the times are a little bit more spread out than they were last race. This is one of those tracks where there's going to be a bit more of a gap between first and last, I think, just because of how long the track is and what kind, like, it's so easy to mess up at multiple points.
If you make a mistake in the first sector, you get your gearing wrong or whatever, it can shave off so much time. I mean, I was having a look at the difference between Smith sector 2 and Sander the Dad sector 2, for example. Smith goes faster again with a 134.2 for the Williams. This man is in danger of getting himself moved up at that speed. Look at the gap between himself and Richie, and Richie is no slouch in qualifying. I was looking at the gap, and Smith over half a second, 6/10 of a second faster than Sander the Dad, just through sector 2 alone. So that issue that you saw with, I think he lost his rear end quite substantially going around that sector, really costs you a lot of time. One little mistake here, and because it is such a long track and you need to keep that corner speed up as best you can, it can really cost you a lot of time.
It can indeed. Right, we've got just over a minute left of this session now. Currently got Smith on provisional pole 134.2. I don't think he'll have enough time to set another lap, so it's now all on the drivers that are behind. And Richie's just about to cross the line now. Will he be able to improve? No, he doesn't, but he will get another chance, providing that he wants to stay on these tires. But there is no penalty actually for staying on your tires and doing another lap. Previous seasons you had to start the race on the tyre that you qualified on, but in this season, you've got free choice on tyres for the race, so burn all the rubber that you want to. I think is good. I think that's good for the sport, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It really is. Unfortunately, my timing screen is definitely broken because Hake just went across the line with 6 minutes on the clock, so I'm not going to be able to tell you who's actually on a lap and who's not.
Okay, Bontel just put it up into second there, and his Haas teammate Bray is coming round and goes over the line 135.3. There's a lot of people in the 135s. Lethal Linz in the Ferrari up to 4th. Now down to 5th again because Pat Peder has gone into 3rd ahead of Richie, his teammate. Now, what can Richie do? My timing says he is 0.004 of a second down on his lap time. I don't know whether to trust it or not, but here we go. Final couple of corners from Richie. We'll find out in the end. And that looked awfully close to a corner cutting or track extending warning for Richie. Richie does not improve, so that is not enough there for Richie, and so Richie will be starting from 4th at the height.
Stone Shuffle, though, he improved up to P5 with his final attempt with a 134.7.
Very nice.
From Stone Shuffle.
Looks like, is it Sander the Dad coming round? No, Sander the Dad is not on a lap. The Energy Titans just finished. No, it was Thunder the Dad that just finished the lap. Yeah, but did not improve. The Energy Titans already done. Who's
Hate Jow just goes round at the final corner, so that's unfortunate for Hate Jow. He will not be upset at that time.
And Hate Jow looks like he's retired on the track there. That's hopefully that doesn't. Hopefully that doesn't mess anybody else up. Oh, Rocket Gamer gets past. Sticks it in sixth. Right, and I think
that is it.
That'd be everyone.
Invalidated his lap time, so for the second week in a row, we'll be starting from the back of the grid. Hopefully, keeps it clean.
There we go.
Well, I mean, I think I was close with what I predicted for qualifying times. I think it was close enough.
I would say you've done a very good job. No one made it into the 133s, but 34.2 for the top. 34.2, 35. So you got the top 9 within a second of each other. That's pretty decent, I would say. So Smith is on pole position for the United States Grand Prix. Ibonto will line up alongside him on the front row. And then an all Red Bull second row with Pat Peter just making it ahead of Richie. Then we have Stone Shuffle, Rocket Gamer, Lethal Lins, Saucy Chris, DNG Titan, and Brain Core rounding out the top 10. And that's decent there. Let's have a look at the bottom and just get all of that in. There we go. Fab. Right. We are going to be racing at 29 minutes past 9, so we have to fill until then.
Oh, now filling I can do. I can fill.
Excellent.
Absolutely fine. I can sing. I can dance, although you can't see. No, I can't do any of that. But what we can do is we can
are you going to take away the fact that you just said you were going to sing, and now you're saying you're not doing that anymore?
Yeah, I'm a tease. What can I say?
Chucking. Cool. Carry on.
Sorry, we just started to fill, and then I disconnected my controller somehow, even though it's wired.
I thought you like going on strike or something.
No, it's a wireless controller, and it just went, you know what? You're not singing. That was that was it. No, I think what we can talk about is a little bit of last week. I didn't think we saw the best of some of these drivers. Do you think there's anybody from last week that had a bit of misfortune you think you could see maybe pushing the limits a bit harder this week to try and catch back up with someone like Smith?
I think there are a few drivers that were on there that had like a decent show in, that had a bit of like a bad time at the start of the race. So I think, as we said earlier on, Lethal Lins has qualified decently again this week, and hopefully if there's no incident in turn 1, but we know Kota, it's such a tight turn 1, it's definitely going to have something. I would be surprised if there wasn't some sort of incident into turn 1 at this track,
surprised as well.
especially on this game. But yeah, I think if people can get past turn 1, maybe make some opportunistic moves, avoiding other people who may or may not have incidents. I think people like Sander the Dad, Lethal Lins, Saucy Chris as well had some decent pace, has fallen down the order, but yeah. And Ibonto in the chat saying, yeah, I would like to not get hit from behind this week. Don't we all? Don't we
Yeah,
all?
we'd all love that. That's a dream that we all have. I think we all share. But I do think you've
Absolutely.
hit the nail on the head pretty perfectly with turn one here. Turn one, a lot of tracks. If you're a little bit worried about incidents as a racer, as a driver, you can normally offset it a little bit when you're in the pack by trying to take that wider outside line. But here, you take that wider outside line, you're sort of running the risk of coming into contact with somebody that's had a bit of misfortune, maybe further on in the pack. So there's nowhere's really safe at Kota for the first corner. If something happens, it's a lot like Spa, I think, in that respect. So I think you've hit the nail on the head there. If they make it round turn one, it's going to be a great race. If they don't, we might see an early safety car or VSC uh, here. I think. I mean, from experience of myself, and probably something you've seen quite a few times yourself, it can happen quite easily here. Somebody's going to dart that inside line. I can see it happening now.
Yeah, it's nice and tight. Makes for good racing sometimes. Even better
So,
crashes.
I like that. Man. Makes for good racing sometimes.
Well, it
Yeah.
I guess it all depends on who's racing. I mean, like we've seen in proper Formula One, there have been some really great overtaking maneuvers, some really opportunistic stuff. We've also seen plenty of incidents in real life, and we've seen it on game as well. Um, so yeah, turn one's going to be really interesting. Um, there's potential to for someone to stick it up the inside in turn one and then go around the outside into the S's that are kind of similar to kind of Maggots and Beckett's, that kind of series of corners from Silverstone, but well, that's what it was modelled behind. But when you look at it from the top down, it doesn't. They're not nearly as severe. They're just quite fast and narrow. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So far today, I can't dispute anything that you've said at all. I don't think you can dispute. This is going well. This is going very well. I can't argue at any point there. The fun thing I think about this track is when people are racing like wheel to wheel around this track, like you say, whether it be real F1 or virtual racing like we're doing, is as Bonter tries to drive straight into the barrier off the start, their little practice start, is there's a lot of fun races, and when you're in a pack at the start, or whether it be with tire deg, you hit sections that remind you of other tracks, and you feel like you're having a great run, and then suddenly the worst happens, or you lose that little bit of traction, and suddenly somebody else is right behind you, and you have to fight somebody. It's gonna be an entertaining race, I think, this one.
It will be indeed.
But
So the drivers are making their way around the formation lap. Predicted pit stop strategies just come up on the screen. That's a good time to see what tyres people are on and what people are going for.
well, I was wrong for what I mentioned before the stream started. We actually do have two drivers starting on the soft compound. That is a
Ooh.
brave idea from them. I personally I wouldn't be that guy. But if there's a safety car, it could pan out incredibly well for them.
So we
They
have
have that free
Smith
option.
starting on the hard, all three behind him starting on the mediums. So that is, if I was Smith and I'd see all of the next three drivers with medium compound tires, brand new medium compound tires, starting behind me, and the run up to turn one, I would not quite, I would be a bit nervous.
Yes.
I would say.
yeah. Yeah, I would as well. I would absolutely as well. I think he's going to struggle all the way up until maybe around lap 6 if he can't keep the heat in those tyres. And you're right, off the start, yeah, I wouldn't want to be him.
Yes.
He's got to get that perfect launch.
Yeah, so
I will.
it's a real kind of even mix with the and then with the two soft runners as well. It's a very interesting tire strategies. Let's have a
Yeah,
look at
how did
this.
he do that? Sorry, Smith just got disqualified on mine when he was parked.
I have no idea.
I'm gonna go like last week. I'll jump on board at the back of the grid while it's disqualifying everybody, and let you know if I see anything interesting happening from the back.
Indeed. Brilliant. We are going to be starting this race very, very soon. We're just waiting for everyone to get in. There we are. The lights are going on. We've got 5 lights. And we are racing in America. And yes, the Haas of Ibonto is already up past Smith into turn 1. Smith trying the undercut through the corner. He doesn't make it stick. So that's Smith down to second. Pat Peter is in third, and Rocket Gamer is up into fourth. And I saw someone drop all the way down.
Party Hard made it all the way up to P9 and then had a really unfortunate incident, lost traction, and is now wound up in last place alongside Richie M. Did not see what happened to Richie.
Yeah, Richie was fallen all the way down. Didn't see what happened there. So Rocket Gamer now up into fourth and having a little look up the inside of Pat Peter. Looks like he's got it done there, has he? Are they side by side? They're still side by side going down the straight. He will have the inside line. Oh, Pat Peter making it up past. Oh, maybe a bit of a ERS deployment there to make it up past. So Pat Peter keeps that place, but is that at the cost of some deployment, some ERS battery, which is notoriously hard to farm around this track?
It's a fantastic battle between Saucy Chris and D&G Titan. D&G Titan got some serious drive and has managed to make the move on Saucy Chris. That was a side-by-side battle all the way down the straight up until that corner that I'm sure you just jumped on board with.
Yeah, we just... Oh! Dear me! Rear end of that car is really not happy with that. Just a little bit too wide over the curb, but manages to keep it in a straight line for now. Lethal Lins and Brain Core making really, really good headway up the field. Starting on that soft compound tyre. Lethal Lins up to 5th. Bray just behind in 6th. Where's the closest battle? Looks like Beastie and Hake Chow are pretty close to each other. Let's jump on board with Beastie, making the way through the first sector, through the S's. These guys have fallen just a little bit back from the main pack, about 2.5 second gap, but see what he can do. Looks like he's really struggling on these hard compound tyres. Probably not warmed up yet.
Yeah, Beastie, unfortunately, off the start there, going into turn 1, there was a bit of a concertina effect that caused him to slam the anchors on and temporarily put himself in last before his teammate and Richie had their respective incidents. So he's managed to make his way back past Scrub as Beastie, so keep an eye on how long it takes him to get past 8.
Oh, look at this! Fantastic battle between Lethal Lins, Rocket Gamer and Brain Core. Lethal Lins making his way up the inside after the long straight, and Brain Core looked like he was going to try and do a cheeky move following all the way through. Oh, and Rocket Gamer's gone around. He's lost the traction on those hard tyres, and that is not good. Not good at all. D&G Titans looking really racy behind the Haas of Bray and Core. There we go. I can't speak fast. There we go.
Rocket Gamer's tyres are currently too hot to drive, and he's spun again and lost place to Party Hard. So that is the danger of that corner. We were speaking about it just through qualifying, coming into Sector 3 there. It can be a nightmare, and it's had its first victim of the race so far in Rocket Gamer, our resident PC racer.
So Beastie has made his way past Hake Jiao into turn 1, it looks like, and Richie is now on the back of these guys. So we've got a 3-way battle for P11, which will not pay any points as of yet, but
D&G Titan and Brain Core again getting really close together, so it looks like D&G Titan's going to get the drive. Maybe these medium tyres are already getting the better of the soft compound tyres, and he gets the move done. And look at the drive from Saucy Chris.
Where is he? There it is. Oh, is he going to do 2 of them? He does. Saucy Chris going side by side through this tight section, wheel to wheel racing. Oh no! 3 wide. My word.
Jesus.
The action is coming thick and fast, and we can't even get our words out to describe what's going on. Saucy Chris finding the best of that battle on the hard compound tires as well, fighting people who've got softs and mediums. So has he managed to turn those hard tires on and just make them work?
Brain Core had a minor bit of contact with Sander the Dad going side by side, and Sander the Dad came out worse off and is now back down into 14th place. Not a good day for the McLaren driver. Ooh.
And Powell hit the back of DNG Titan into turn 1. Just saw the tire to the tail end of that as we were on board with Saucy Chris. So I think if I was DNG Titan, I might not be so happy about that. But a bit of contact between them. Stone Shuffle now. That's allowed Stone Shuffle to get right on the back of Brain Core. Looks like one of the tightest battles we've got. Richie's on the back of Beastie as well. Let's have a look. He had a little look there into that corner, but probably thinking better of it. We'll use the DRS. He will get off of the back. So let's see what Stone Shuffle does. Go on board with the Aston Martin. Looks like a fairly straightforward pass. Up into the middle, and then Richie has managed to make the move on Beastie as well. So Richie up to 9th, recovering after that early spin on lap 1.
And Beastie as well, recovering nicely from that first corner sort of chaos that put him back into last place, now back into the points. So I think they're two drivers to see how they finish at the end of the race. Meanwhile, Pat Peder is actually closing the gap on Smith on his medium tyres. Smith losing a little bit of time to Bonter. Bonter currently with a 1.5 second advantage over Smith. So this one's going to play out, I think, to either safety car or just pure pit strategy from these three drivers. Lethal Lynn's also trying his best to close the gap and stay as close as he can on his softs.
Oh, just going to interrupt you there. Richie and Brain Core going wheel to wheel. Richie putting up the inside of turn 1, but Brain Core switching back, and these guys wanting to go side by side through the S's. And Brain Core goes, maybe not, and backs out of it. Yes.
Oh, that took balls from Richie M. Sorry about my language, people. I don't often say balls. No, on a serious note, that was ballsy from Richie M. That was a very, very ballsy move.
Indeed. Well, I mean, it was ballsy from both of them, to be fair.
It was. It was. Like, I would have done exactly what Brain Core did. I would have shit myself and backed out.
And that's allowed Beastie then to get the DRS. And he's just breaking up the inside, and he should be able to make that move stick. He does. So that's Beastie up into 9th. And Brain Core, after making quite a few places on those soft compound tires, has managed to fall down the order just a little bit. So maybe he's overcooked the tires, maybe?
Maybe, but I've got a couple of drivers for you to keep an eye on at the minute, which is Powell and Saucy Chris. They were side by side coming into Sector 2. They've sort of sorted it out a little bit, but Saucy Chris is really getting a power out of these corners compared to some of the drivers. So I think you want to keep an eye on those two.
Let's jump on board with the Williams. I think he's a bit too far back to make a move into turn 1. But yeah, we'll definitely keep an eye out on this. Looks like Brain Core and DNG Titan are pretty close. Brain Core not quite close enough to make a move into turn 1.
Rocket Game has gone round again. Rocket Game are not having fun at the minute, down in last place, P16.
So Pat Peder, you mentioned that Pat Peder was closing in. Well, he's getting pretty close now off the back, and he's going to have DRS down the main straight. We'll jump on board with the Red Bull driver. Will he be able to be close enough to make a move? Be a bit of a lunge from this far back. Yeah, thinking better of it there.
He's been very sensible with his ERS deployment. As Rocket Gamer does retire in the pits, obviously not happy with the way it's going at the minute.
Yeah, some did show some early speed, but a couple of incidents at the start of the race as meant that we just retired the car. Which is fair. Ah, it's fair enough. Fair enough. It sucks
Maybe
when
you
you're
want to
so
save the
far into
gearbox
the
for the following week.
Yes. Right,
Lethal
looks.
Lins dives into the pits already, so coming on to lap 6. Sorry, completing lap 6. Get that right. And the soft tyre Ferrari has thrown it into the pits. Be interesting to see Brain Core as well jumping into the pits. So 2 soft runners, Lethal Lins on the hard tyres now. We'll see what Brain Core goes on.
So it looks like Brain Core is not
I
yet
think they're
stopped. Just pulls in now.
They are hard tyres.
Yeah, so both of those drivers going onto hard tyres. You think they're going to try and do a one stop?
I think they are. That I don't know if they'll make it.
We'll have to see. We'll have to see what happens. There's every chance that we could have a safety car or some other incident, and yeah, we'll have to see. We'll have to see what happens. But yeah, Lethal Lins and Brain Core after starting on the soft tyres have moved to the hard tyres now.
Just
6 laps in.
Just quickly, sorry, no, it's my game. For some reason, Saucy Chris was backwards on my screen, and now he's the right way. So
Okay, good.
It's fine. I think I have I don't think my Codemasters is doing very well today.
Yes. Right.
The gap is
Okay, the battle
is increasing.
Yeah, the battle at the front is hotting up. Smith is now within a second of Ibontal. So it looks like the hard tyres are coming into their own now. The mediums are starting to drop off. Because these front runners are 9 seconds ahead of Saucy Chris, as we see Hake Zhao get a 3-second penalty. The first time penalty awarded this race so far for extending track limits. Looks like Saucy Chris and Powell are going had it. Oh, so it looks like Powell had an attack on Saucy Chris, and Saucy Chris lost the place for a second, but then was like, "Nope, I am keeping this place," and drives right back around the outside. Where again, it looks like Hake Zhao was stationary. To the last corner. Looks like he's got going again. So Hake Zhao's obviously had some sort of incident there. Brain Core's right back there with him as well. So I don't know if something's happened between those guys. Saucy Chris.
Sorry,
Have I missed something? Because Smith, Pat Peder. What happened to Pat?
Oh, we both missed something.
We've both missed what's happened to Pat. Pat's now in 7th. Was right on the back of Smith.
Oh, Hake has retired. Did he crash on? That is a crash on track. That is a VS. I don't see the safety car.
I think the safety car's out. There's
That's
a yellow
safety car,
dot on
yeah,
my
that is
map
safety
there.
car, yeah,
So
yellow
right,
dot.
safety car. Right, we've gone a bit mad.
I don't know what happened with Pat Peder. I was so engrossed with Powell and Saucy Chris that I totally missed what happened. But I didn't see those two go through a yellow flag.
Right, Smith has stayed out. Saucy Chris has stayed out. Stone Shuffle has stayed out. Pat Peder has stayed out on the mediums. I'm not sure about that. Ibonto has pitted and has pitted onto the hard tyres.
If Bonta can sort of get through the guys in front of him, Pat Peder especially, he's going to put himself in a good position to try and mitigate Smith's medium tyre advantage. If he can stay close, within 10 seconds, for example, of Smith, he's going to put himself in a good position for when Smith boxes, depending on what lap that is. I mean, you're looking at 12 to 14 laps on the medium tyres, and that's just the 14 laps is a stretch, I will say.
Right, so lap 9 of 28 at the Circuit of the Americas. For those joining us, Tom in the chat, hello. Nice to see you. Thanks for joining us. We've just had a safety car, Hake Zhao, crashing out in the S's in Sector 1, and that's brought out this period of full course caution.
Yes.
We're in America. We may as well use the American term.
I think you mentioned between qualifying and the race that about Sector 1 being such a tricky sort of technical section, and I think what Hake Zhao's sort of found out to his misfortune today is when you spin on the final corner and you overheat your tyres, there's nowhere really for you to get that temperature back down. And if you don't take it that little bit easier going around that first sector, then you're going to end up, unfortunately, out of the race. And I think Hake Zhao's just sort of proved your point a little bit there with how technical it is.
So it looks like Pat Peder has thought the better of not coming in and has come in for a set of tyres. But that drops him right to the back of the field. So Pat Peder, who was in third and closing the gap, has had some sort of issue that we've not seen and didn't pit under safety car, and I was thought, yeah, I should probably pit. So that is, yeah, that's not. If I was in this position, I would be very. I would be a bit annoyed with myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. He is in a slight advantage over a couple of the guys ahead of him, but not enough, I think, to put him back in that podium spot. I mean, I'm sure he will let us know after the race. We'll be able to enlighten the listeners next week as to what happened, but yeah, that's really unfortunate for Pat Peder. I think he'll just now be aiming for a bit of damage limitation on his race. The two drivers I mentioned that he might have a slight advantage over are Sander Verdad and Scrub, who are both on medium tyres, and they are going to have a really tough time taking them to the end.
It is heating up.
It really
is. Yeah. Our first three runners have not pitted yet. We've also got Beastie who's in fifth, who hasn't pitted. So I think Ibontal at this juncture, if I was Ibontal, I'd be like, I would be fancying my chances for a win as things stand at the moment. Like this could change. This is a Codemasters game after all.
It is. He could be safety car glitched for all we know yet.
Right, so the safety car is on its way into the pit, so Smith will be setting everyone off soon, and Saucy Chris is not very close to him, so maybe there's a bit of team play going on here. He looks like he's closed the gap a little bit, but that has allowed Smith to pull an 8/10 gap across the line, which is not the best for everyone else following. But we are back racing here in America.
Oh, sorry, I was looking right back down the order there. Everybody was taking it so carefully into turn one. Nobody wanted to risk their fresh or cold tyres in that first corner. Richie currently in P8. Oh, as Beastie has spin. Beastie has spun out and has major front wing damage.
Big front wing damage there for Beastie. Cold, hard tyres on that car, and old cold tyres as well. 10 laps old. Hasn't come into the pits for those tyres, and will probably need to come into the pits for a front wing. So not the best restart there for the Alpine driver. Let's have a look. Stone Shuffle has shuffled his way all the way up to third. Like that. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
I was so close to not laughing. Then you had to do that. Oh dear.
Never mind.
Did you like that?
One day I'll get the call up the sky or something.
I think you will.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Just looking down the order at the minute, Lethal Lins, 4-lap old hard tyres, getting really close to the back of Powell. I think he's going to be Bonta's biggest challenger for the foreseeable until Smith, Saucy Chris and Stone Shuffle get changed onto fresh tyres.
Looks like these McLarens. Oh, a bit of team orders there, maybe. Sander the Dad looking a bit more racy than Titan. Looks like Titan pulled off to the left-hand side to let his teammate through. So a little bit of teamwork there. We like to see a bit of teamwork every now and then.
Yeah, that makes sense for the McLaren duo. Both of them are currently on different tyre strategies. Looks like Titan's going to go to the end, where I think Sander's going to have to box again. Sander needed to make as much time as he can up in that meantime.
Now it looks like there's a really good battle for second, heating up. Saucy Chris currently leading the way. Has some time penalties though. Stone Shuffle and Ibontal very close on the back, and same with Powell. Lethal Lins and Richie, and they're all pretty close to each other. There's going to be a nice DRS train in a couple of laps when DRS is activated again. We have to see a McLaren going all the way out wide there. Sander the Dad making his way past Richie. Very good there for Sander the Dad. Looked to have some good pace last weekend, but crashed out. And so Sander the Dad will be very happy with his performance so far this weekend. But Smith, as last week, has pulled a massive gap and is currently running out by himself in the lead by 3.5 seconds.
Do you think that was the plan between Chris and Smith? Because Saucy Chris seems to be the cork in the bottle for a lot of these drivers behind. There is a big train forming behind the Williams driver. And if that is their tactic, then Saucy Chris is doing an admirable job right now.
Oh, and that's some contact there between Powell and Ibontal. Ibontal's gone round. We're going to go 3 wide. Oh, and D&G Titan just got in the middle of that. So 2 incidents in the space of 1 corner for Ibontal. Sees him down to 8th. D&G Titans, the big loser in that, all the way down to 13th. Powell up to 4th again, but that's another piece of contact into turn 1 from the Alfa Romeo.
I think that's the evidence of what this Constantino effect that Saucy Chris is doing to the guys behind. That's now 4.5 seconds the gap to Smith in front. I think everybody behind is just chomping at the bit to try and get past Chris, and he's just doing everything that you would expect him to do to keep everybody else behind him.
Ibontal now trying to make his way up past Richie, goes around the outside. We'll have the inside line for this next tight, twisty section, but Richie is still sticking it around the outside and manages to keep that place. Fantastic wheel-to-wheel racing by these guys. Fantastic stuff. Love that. Richie currently... Squeeze. Yes, it was. Oh, and he's gone a little bit white, as has Ibontal. Maybe he's heated up those tyres a little bit too much, and now he's under pressure from Scrub, who is on the quicker tyre. So will Scrub try and make a move down into turn 1? Looks like it might try, but Ibontal's also got DRS, so it will be difficult, and he does not make that move thick.
Honestly, I think right now, if I was to give driver of the day, I'd give it to Saucy Chris. I mean, look at the gap that he's given to his teammate Smith with guys behind him. Well, Stone Shuffle obviously sat there right in his gearbox, but look at the gap that they've given. You know, that's just ridiculous.
It is indeed. So we still don't know whether or not this is team orders or if this is just Smith's raw pace. Maybe they're going to... Oh, okay, here's the thing. Maybe they're going to double stack their pit stops.
Maybe.
Oh, that's a late lunge there from Powell. Thinking, yes, let's make that move. Oh, no, more contact. And the Aston Martin of Stone Shuffle goes around. Welcome to Division 4.
Yeah.
Says Powell. And he heads spinning spinning into the grass, and that's down to 12th there for Stone Shuffle. Powell's been in the wars there.
That was, yes, that was almost a duplicate of Richie and I think it was Bonta, and unfortunately not quite as well executed. I don't think anybody would be involved in something like that. Racing is very, very tight racing.
Looks like Sander the Dad's making a move on Lethal Lynn, sticks it up the inside. Let's see what the camera brings. They're still side by side. Oh, Lethal Lynn's is fighting back. Lethal Lynn's is the only PlayStation runner. Sander was like, no, I really, really want this place. I am having this place. You need to back out, otherwise we're having an accident. So some very stern racing from the McLaren driver there, making his way up into 4th.
That was Sander's way of saying, I'm bringing McLaren back to the title.
Yes. So yeah, some hard racing there. Hard racing. I would say fair racing, but hard.
Oh, fair, yeah, I definitely think it's fair. I mean, somebody has to back out there, and whoever does it first is going to lose that position. As Richie M also makes a move on Lethal Lynn's, Powell and Saucy Chris as well, side by side. There's so much fighting going on right now.
Yeah, so Powell has made the move where other people haven't. Oh, Saucy Chris!
Jeez. I mean,
that was. Play. I mean, like, points for effort. Like, I'm giving that a 10 for style, but a very, very adventurous lunge to try and keep that place, and has actually caused Saucy Chris to lose that place to Sander the Dad. So
I don't know how we got the car stopped, to be honest.
Well, it looks like the McLaren's going up the inside of Powell into turn 1, goes wide on the exit. Oh, Powell cuts back up around the outside and manages to keep that place. But yeah, we said at the start of this stream that turn 1 was going to be a bit of a hotbed of action, and it certainly turned out to be the case.
It really has. Struggling way to look now. I think at the minute I'm going to try and keep an eye on Lethal Lynn's and Bonta. Bonta right on the back of Lethal Lynn's. 4P6, both of them currently ahead of Pat Peter. Pat Peter has made up 6 places from being last on the grid up to P8 now. So Pat Peter's doing well for himself on that recovery drive in the Red Bull.
Very good effort on the recovery. We just jump on board with his teammate in the Red Bull, trying to make a move on Saucy Chris. Thinking about maybe a late little lunge into there. No, not quite. Thinks better of it. So Saucy Chris manages to keep 4th, but yes, Powell, go on.
Powell and Sander the Dad were side by side again. So Sander the Dad must have got some good drive. Sander the Dad was momentarily ahead, but Powell managed to drive it around the outside and keep the position. That was very, very ballsy from the two drivers fighting for P2. I'm going to be interested to see if Sander can keep it going as Smith now throws it into the pits.
Right, so we'll jump on board with Smith. Lap 17 of 28. Do you think this is straight for hard? For medium tyres to the end?
I think so. I reckon it is. It is medium tyres going on. Let's see what the gap is from Smith to Powell after this stop.
Richie getting up past Saucy Chris now. So Saucy Chris is dropping down the order, and I imagine Saucy Chris will probably want to be coming in to the pits in the next few laps or so.
Smith is only 11.1 seconds off of the leader Powell, but he's got a lot of cars in front of him that have already boxed that he's gonna have to pass if he wants to keep his fight in for the win. Yeah,
I would say maybe three of those cars are definitely coming in. So we've got Braincore, Lethal and Saucy Chris will definitely be coming in. The medium runners, it's going to be up to, we'll have to see how well they do on tyre management, as we see Sander the Dad making a pass on Powell for the lead. But Powell's like, I am not giving this place back. In the wars all this race, these two still going at it. Sander the Dad up to the inside again. Will he get the traction? Powell's got the inside line. Brave hanging around the outside of there, but he is trying. Oh, and he's still there. But he's got the inside line. No, not quite. So Powell managing to fend off that place, and Sander the Dad going, okay, let's come into the pits. Let's regroup. Let's get a new set of tyres and have another go. So Powell takes over the lead of this race. Richie not too far behind. Lethal Lins now in third, but we will expect probably to come into the pits before the end of the race, I imagine. And Ibont will back up to fourth, so that's decent. That's a decent recovery, I think.
That is a very good recovery from Ibont after his incident earlier on. Sander the Dad coming out behind his teammate, but he is on another fresh set of medium compound tyres, so we'll see what Sander the Dad can do to the end as well, because he is, I mean, he's quite far back from Smith. Smith 8 seconds off the lead, Sander 18 or 19 seconds now off the lead, so we'll see what Sander can do. But Powell, that man did not want to relinquish that position. He was fighting that tooth and nail, and fair play to him. It was some really good driving from the two. He's now got Richie to contend with.
Richie thinking about a move, but tucking back in behind the Alfa Romeo of Powell, who has been, I would say, a strong contender for the Max Verstappen School of Motoring. Elbows out, racing. I'm coming through. Are you there still? I think we've just lost Gunhead. So we'll
back.
carry.
Back.
Oh, he's back. He's
back.
back.
It disconnected again.
Oh,
no, I heard you though. You are right. I would probably give him that Max Verstappen trophy for this race. He's done it, and he's done it clean. You know, I've not seen. I mean, yeah, there's been a little bit of minor contact, but I've not seen him do anything wrong to keep it in this lead.
Smith and Braincore going side by side. Smith going up the inside of turn one. Braincore really wanted to fight that, but on 12 lap old hard tires versus 2 lap old medium tires, it's going to be a losing battle. And Smith makes his way up to 7th. Sorry to interrupt you. Carry on.
No, you're fine. You were right to interrupt on that one. But no, Powell and Richie's been through the wars himself, and he's back up into P2. I think that's twice now. That's 2 weeks in a row where Richie's been through the wars and he's found himself back in P2. But that gap is non-existent now as Richie makes the move for the lead on the straight, and he gets it done before they hit the brake zone. So Richie M now takes over the lead of this American Grand Prix, and I don't know where to look at the minute, to be honest.
Yeah. It's one of those fast and furious races. Saucy Chris looks like he's made a move on DNG Titan around the outside of this time. DNG Titan picking the inside to defend, but Saucy Chris, new tires, softer tires as well, and makes his way past up into the points again, which is good. And Smith is pretty close on the back of Party Hard. Party Hard's kind of just had a quiet race, just making his way up, avoiding incidents. Been decent.
You know, I nearly said making his way downtown. You nearly had to but you are right. Yeah, he's just very quietly been getting the job done today. But if you look at the gap between the leader down to P5, those guys covered by less than 3 seconds. So. Right now, I mean, the tyre difference is pretty much negligible. So Smith still 6 seconds off the lead. So once he gets into this fight, I don't know I still can't call the winner on this race.
So lap 20 of 28, Smith, looking to be on a decent strategy, has been in the lead for most of this race. But came into the pits, put on the medium compound tyres, been on them for about 3 or 4 laps or so, and is trying to catch back up to these guys who are all on pretty old tyres. Lethal Lins are the oldest, I would say, tyres of them all, but still battling pretty hard and is right on the back of Powell. Don't know if Powell is struggling a little bit. Maybe all that fighting that's happened through the race has had an adverse effect on those tyres, because he seems to be losing ground to Richie and falling into the clutches of the only PlayStation driver that we have on the grid, Lethal Lins. Will he make a move up into turn one? He's got the DRS. Looks like he's maybe not quite close enough. Okay.
I think that might have been a wise decision, because I think he's been watching Powell defend into turn one, and Powell's defending into turn one, or he's giving himself a cutback opportunity, and I think Lethal Lins may have learned from that, and he's going to try and probably stay as close as he can for that second DRS opportunity on the straight. Gosh, this is serious tooth and nail fighting between these guys. They're all vying for that win, and I don't think any of the guys behind Powell want to let Richie get too much of an advantage.
And the last car on the back of this group is Pat Peder, who had an unknown accident or something, fell right down, was right up in there in the battle for the lead. So it looks like Lethal Lins is going to try and make the move. Oh, we were on board for that one. And Powell defending a little bit too hard, I would say. And Lethal Lins he has no front wing at all, and has been given a penalty there by the game.
I had Stroll flashbacks from the real F1 there. That is, yeah, that I'm not surprised that's a safety car. Yeah, that has thrown the biggest spanner into the works this race has seen so far, because if I was everybody, I would be straight into the pits right now for a set of soft tyres.
Now, what would you do if you're Smith? Medium compound tyres, only 4 laps old. Looks like he's carrying on.
I would be in if it was me, but I mean, you're going to have 2 laps minimum under this safety car, so I did clip that. I can reference what happened exactly there sort of after, and we can have probably a bit of a deeper look when we are back in the comms box together. I won't be able to analyse that too much today, that incident, but yeah, that was unfortunate for the 2 involved, but I'm surprised that Richie and Pat have surprised me more than anybody else, because neither driver have boxed for a fresh set of tyres, and that's going to give Smith the advantage, I think.
So I'm not quite sure what's happened here, but Smith has made his way past Pat. But Pat, he shouldn't have been able to, because both Pat and Richie were ahead of Smith. So I'm not quite sure what's happened here. Bit of Cody's magic, maybe.
Maybe. I mean, I've been in that situation before. If Pat's had a little bit of a wobble, maybe he's nearly caught onto the back of his teammate. He's trying to avoid giving them both a penalty. Historically, I've seen the 2 drivers do a courteous switch, but that would require Smith going off track to allow it to happen, and he puts himself at risk of losing out to his teammate as well. So I think they're just going to probably hold station for this. There's no real rules in place for it if Pat made an unfortunate error. So yeah, that's unlucky for Pat, and that's just given Smith even more of an advantage, I think, over the rest of the field, because Bonta's going to have to make a couple of moves if he wants to put any kind of pressure on Smith for the win with those soft tyres.
Yeah. Now Beastie is quite a long way off the back of the field. If you're Richie and Pat, you're on 13 lap, 12 lap old hard tyres. You got Smith and Saucy Chris both on mediums. Are you going to come into the pits now? I mean,
no, they can't. They can't box now. That not only because they're teammates, but it's too late. They've made their decision. This is Hamilton, Verstappen, Abu Dhabi all over again. You know, Hamilton stayed out on those old scrubbed-in hard tyres where Max Verstappen had boxed on the softs. Now, while we won't have the controversial calls that we saw on that, the beds have been made, and now the drivers just have to make the most of what they've got. And unfortunately for Richie and Pat, I don't think it's going to play out too well for them. But I do think that right now the Williams duo are in a fantastic position to try and take maximum points and hold that Division 4 constructors lead.
They certainly are. Although the only thing I would say that is potentially could throw a spanner into the works is that 3-second time penalty that Saucy Chris has looming over his final time. That could play a key role in deciding whom finishes where at the end of this race.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't agree more. And that's why, we have this brief interval. That is why you'll find a lot of drivers that may not have the out-and-out pace, but have that consistent, clean lap times. They often take maximum advantage of these kind of situations. I mean, today we've had quite a fair amount of penalties, not many. We've got 5 drivers currently on a penalty, and historically at this track I've seen almost the entire grid with a penalty, and in those situations where you get safety cars, the guys without the penalties absolutely maximise the advantage. They can go up 5, 6, 7 places. So Pat probably is in a better place than Saucy, but Bunter's in a better place than both of them. I think Bunter, Powell, Party Hard, and Sander, everybody really. I mean, they're in a really good position to take advantage of this safety car. Richie, Smith, Pat, I'm not sure how it's going to play out for him, but I think Smith's got that overall race pace to give himself a big enough gap if Bunter struggles.
So
sorry, that was a bit of a monologue. Sorry.
it was a glorious monologue. So Richie,
thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Richie, looks like Richie has put the foot down pretty early in this instance. I was wondering how he's going to play it. It looks like he's gone early and he's pulled 8/10 gap over the line. So that is a decent restart there from Richie. And we've got Smith in second, Pat Peter in third, and Saucy Chris in fourth. Who's making any moves? Let's have a look at Bray. Oh, Bray and Core, just a little bit of a tap on the back of Party Hard there. Manages to keep it in a straight line-ish. But Sander the Dad and DNG Titan pretty close on the back of him now. It's lap 24 of 28. We are closing in, and looks like we're going to have another grandstand finish.
Yeah, it really does. Smith not gaining too much time over the lap so far on Richie, and Pat has lost a lot of time to the Williams driver. Smith currently under pressure from Saucy Chris. Saucy Chris needs to get the move done as quickly as he can to try and break the guys behind to minimise the penalty damage that will be incurred at the end.
So the gap to the leader now, Smith, is now 6/10 behind, so it looks like he's slowly reeling in that gap.
Powell goes on the inside of Party Hard, Scrub, but Scrub managed to keep the position, but he's right in his gearbox.
Oh, bit of contact there. A little bit of a love tap.
Nudge.
Powell, of course, one of only a couple of races on the soft compound tyres, so he's gone, right, if you got 6 seconds worth of penalties, let's stick the soft compound tyre on, see how fast we can go. Maybe a play for the fastest lap, potentially.
Potentially, but I'm not sure if he's going to have the advantage that Bunter's got, because once Bunter can navigate his way, well, if Bunter can navigate his way past Saucy Chris so far this race has proved very difficult to overtake. I think Bunter is probably in the best position to take that fastest lap, but Smith's still not able to sink his teeth into Richie. There's a sizable gap still between the two drivers, so Richie doing a remarkably good job on 16 lap old hard tyres.
It's quite incredible, actually. It was 6/10 last time we checked on it. It's now 7/10. Well, no, it's just gone back down to 6. So we've seen Powell sending it up the inside of Scrub. Scrub getting a better traction, but then the soft tyres come back into play. And then Party Hard's like, I will join the party too. Look at racing alongside, and then in the Haas of Brain Core sending out the inside. And It's all happening down in the midfield as we.
That Haas is looking racy. That was incredible driving. As beastie in UFC, unfortunately, has gone round again.
Oh, and a bit of contact there for hitting the back of Scrub, and that's allowed Sander the dad to get past. That like DNG Titan was going to get past as well, but no. Gosh, all pretty close to each other. They're like nose to tail, but the gap to the leader, Smith now, right on the back of Richie, and we only got a couple of laps to go in this race. So it looks like Smith has found the pace, has carefully worked his tyres up to the correct temperature, and is now on the attack for his second win this season of 2 races. I made it sound all grand.
You didn't have to add that. You didn't have to add that.
I didn't need to add that. Yeah.
It was fine.
It was fine. There we go.
No, but yeah, no, you're right. Smith has in the last 2 races, like he's made the right decisions that a driver needs to make on the fly, and he's really closing the gap now to Richie. Can Richie defend into the corner at the end of this straight?
Richie goes to the inside. Smith going around the outside, takes a nice wide line, plenty of space and racing room left by these 2 drivers, which is good to see. We've seen a bit of pretty close racing fairly recently. And Saucy Chris has managed to get up the inside of Pat Peter. So Williams 2 and 3. But Saucy Chris does have that 3-second penalty looming over. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to pull a 3-second gap to be able to keep that place. And he's got 2 guys pretty close, but three pretty
just
close.
Made a move into the final corner that I've not seen done in a long time, and he managed to make it stick. And Powell's followed him through, so Papida loses 2 more places on that lap. Now Hunter's still behind Saucy Chris, so Hunter needs to get a bit of a move on if he wants to try and make himself safe from Powell.
But Powell has that 6-second penalty, so...
He does, you're right.
So I think Bonta is looking pretty good. And Smith...
We've just missed. Yeah, Smith just picked up a penalty in that first sector, trying to get onto the back of Richie.
Now, if you're Richie, are you like, if he passes you, just like, fine. He's not going to... Yeah. Surely he's not going to pull 3 seconds
he's
on me.
No way. I'd let him go at the end of this lap and just... I mean, I'd cruise to a win if I was Richie. I mean, that's all he has to do.
But he's still defending. He wants to do it on track, doesn't he? He definitely wants to do it on track. And to be fair, like, you would want to try and do it on track, wouldn't you? You wouldn't want to just take the win. But, bit of contact there. But Smith makes it past. Right. Will he pull 3 seconds?
I've never seen that before, unless somebody's had a puncture. So, if he does, then, fair play.
If he does, fair play. That's, I think, a fair assessment. You can't say fairer than that. Right, let's jump on board with Powell then. He seems to be the one that's going to give us the most interesting action on track. And a fair few scrapes, I would say, on the last lap of this race. We started lap 28. So this is the last lap. Smith pulling out a gap over Richie. 1 second now. Still needs 2 more if he's going to be able to keep that place.
Stone Shuffle's trying to go side by side with Bray and Core into sector 1. Bray and Core getting a bit close to the back of Party Yard at the same time. So those 3 having a nice little scrap there for the last few points of this race. That's something I'm going to keep a close eye on till the end, I think, because Bray Core and his penalty, he's not giving an inch to anybody around him.
Oh, and they've just caught the back end of this. Ibontal and Powell going side by side, coming onto the main back straight, and Powell having some contact there and spinning round. So Ibontal all the way down to 13th now, and Powell has picked up another 3 seconds, taking his total to 9. But Smith is starting into the last sector of this race. Has 3 seconds of time penalties and is only 1.3 seconds ahead of Richie. So as he comes through the final corner,
Sanders lost it.
Oh no,
Sorry.
Sanders lost it.
Sanders
But
lost it.
Smith crosses the line in first place, but Richie picks up the win from time penalties added onto Smith. Pat Peter finishes third, Saucy Chris fourth, DNG Titan all the way up to fifth. Massive gain from DNG Titan. Stone Shuffle up to sixth. Party Hard finished seventh. Scrub finished eighth. Ibonto up to ninth. And Braincore runs out the top 10. And then we have Powell, who was so well, but those 9 seconds of penalties really came into play for Powell, and not a single point for the Alfa Romeo driver. Sander the Dad finishes in 12th, Lethal Lins in 13th, and Beastie yet to cross the line, just about to, in 14th place. That was a bit of a manic race.
What can we say? That was just start to finish. Every single driver out there giving it absolutely everything they had. What a race.
You just said, I need to lay down.
I do need to lay down. After that, I'm gonna sip a whiskey and have a lay down, I think, after that one. Well, what can we say? That was something. That lived up to pretty much exactly what we hoped it would, I think.
I think so. That was an action-packed race. And the Red Bull driver, Richie, picks up the win this time out. Smith proves that he is human after all. And does not take the win. So there you are. There's our final classifications. The fastest lap of the race going to Stone Shuffle. The 37.5. Very nice indeed. Well, that is...
Yes, and just that puts Richie and Smith both now on the same points. They are both level on 45 points. So this could be quite the title that we're looking at here.
Very good indeed. So there are your final standings. Richie finished in first after qualifying in fourth, so a very good return there. Smith finishing in second, and Pat Peter and the other Red Bull rounding out the podium in third. Saucy Chris finished fourth. DNG Titan finished fifth. Stones Shuffle all the way up to sixth. Party Hard starting from 14th on the grid up to 7th. A very good drive indeed. Scrub also starting from 16th, finished in 8th. Ibonto finished 9th. And Braincore running up the top 10. There we go. That was the race. That was America. Your reaction, please.
I'm pretty sure already, yeah. Okay, I do need to lie down. That was an incredible race. There was fighting pretty much from start to finish. There was incredible racecraft from pretty much the whole grid. There was some questionable moments that I think we'll leave to the team to deal with. But I mean, for the most part, that was one of the more enjoyable races I think I've watched, and I definitely still prefer watching Kota to driving it. I would not want to be any one of those drivers today.
Yes, I can second that. Definitely, Kota is not one of the tracks that I really want to drive on. Some reaction in the chat there. Powell said, "I've done a shocker. Sorry to everybody." Fair enough. Raced hard and elbows were out, and it certainly gave us a lot of things to react to. And Bonta saying, "Good comms again, lads, but that's my season done." We're only two races in to a 21 race season. I think there's time to catch up. I wouldn't worry about it too much. You've definitely got some pace, Ponta, so don't worry about that. Right. Well, who's your driver of the day? And head.
I'm actually. I mean, I know that Richie had the recovery drive probably of his career, but I'm seriously tempted to give it to Saucy Chris because I've never seen anybody on tyres that knackered defend as hard as he did against people that I think historically have been faster. So I am actually going to give it to the Williams man, Saucy Chris, today from myself.
Excellent. Saucy Chris with the saucy drive.
You're full of them tonight, mate.
I don't know. We've got to get him in somehow. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to have to go and take a breather.
Fair enough. Right, I think that's it from us. Thank you so much for watching the stream this week. Next week, where are we at next week?
I haven't looked.
Canada. We're at Canada, and it's a sprint. It's a sprint race.
I might just go to sleep now. Ready for that. if we have the same kind of action next week as we've had this week with 2 races. Certainly.
That is, I would say, a track that's maybe close to the polar opposite of Kota. That's very much a tight, twisty, well, it's not that twisty, but it is certainly tight street track.
I think the only one that would be more opposite is Monaco, and Canada is the closest second that you could ask for, so I think you're right with that.
Yeah, the barriers are very close. I would expect a lot of crashes there, some definite corner cutting penalties, and maybe even a crash or 2 into Wall of Champions. So that's what we have next week for you. Same time at 9 p.m. Thank you so much for joining us live, if you were with us live, and if you're watching this on catch up. I don't know if that's catch up is a thing on YouTube, but if you're watching this when it's not live, you're very welcome as well. Thanks for watching.
We'll call it +1 instead of catch up. Say +1. You know, they're watching on +1.
Well, my name is Dave, so I don't think I can get away with calling it Deja Vu. We'll have to see. We'll have to see if they come a calling with a copyright infringement. We'll have to see. But anyway, Beaufort Vu. I don't think it's not got the same ring, is it? Anyway, right. Thank you very much for waffling now. Have a great evening. We'll have a great week, and we'll see you next week at 9 o'clock for a sprint race and a main race around the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. Goodbye.